Affairs right here from the studios of Pan-African Television. My name is Harriet Nati. Like I told you, today's conversation is going to be a very, very interesting one. And you need to share with your friends to join in. And so we can get interactive as always. You know how we do it. Keep your questions coming in, keep your messages coming in, and we will read all of them right here on the show. So today is all about relations between Ghana and France. We have a unique privilege to speak with the French ambassador to Ghana, Her Excellency Anne-Sophie Ave. And trust me, you can't have enough of her. It's going to be very, very educative. When I asked her, are you ready? She told me, yes, I'm always ready. Hello, Your Excellency.
Hello, Harriet.
It's good to have you on the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
How are you?
I'm fine. I'm fine.
How are you managing through COVID and all that?
Well, Ghana is doing really well, so we feel safer than we probably would be in Europe. So the bad side of it is that we probably lay our guards down because we feel safe. But within the embassy, we are very careful. We keep people away from each other. We wear masks in the corridors. We get the handles and offices disinfected. So we try to keep our people safe.
Interesting to know. Now, let's go straight to our conversation. We will come to COVID and also talk about France and how they are managing COVID. We know that it's escalating in Europe and other parts of the world. And so we will take a look at that and see if you have to learn something from Ghana in terms of how to manage COVID as well. But for now, you are a senior civil servant. Let's talk about your career briefly.
So actually, I used to work in the private sector, and in France, you have this possibility of joining the public service through a senior civil servant fast-track system that is called the ENA, École Nationale d'Administration, National School of Administration. So it's like an exam, a competition exam, and then it's a year and a half course. And depending on how good you rate in this, you can choose and pick the ministry you want to go and work with. But these senior civil servants coming out from this very track, they are fit to work in any ministry. And that was really the luck of my career, is that I was able to start in the transport ministry, transport and infrastructure, then move back to the private sector actually for a moment, then to the defense ministry, and then to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs.
So you have served in various portfolios that we started with transport, and then you were with the defense ministry, and now you are with the Ministry for Foreign Affairs.
Yes.
Okay, so let's talk about your leadership. What you are here for. You are here first off for the interest of France and the French people. Is that right?
Yes.
That is your
think
job.
It's more than that. I think it's creating links with the host country. In countries where we have a huge French population, the job of the ambassador and the consul is to make sure that this community is behaving well and well treated, to evacuate in times of big crisis or war. And also, these communities usually have French companies. So it's basically making sure that all that's French in the environment is going smoothly. Here, the French community is not that many. It's like 1,230 something.
But they're pretty much effective, like very active.
Yeah, it's more or less, most of them are high executives or MDs or managing directors
organizations,
or
French organizations in the country.
So they are visible.
Very visible.
Very visible.
Very visible.
And I think the France here in Ghana can pride itself of the way that the French companies are behaving, because they are developing what you call corporate social responsibility policies that are very effective and that really bring a lot to communities. So they sometimes you don't even know that they are French companies, because they are so in the picture here in Ghana, and they have been there for so long, and they are hiring and employing so many Ghanaians that eventually Ghana has made it his or hers, and it's fine. It's fine like that. Decathlon is a French company,
and that is big.
It's huge, but it's the way Decathlon behaves here in Ghana is very specific, and it becomes a Ghanaian Decathlon that is probably a role model for many Decathlon in the world that we could copy.
Great note to start with. Now let's look at France's relations with Africa, with a particular focus to Ghana. What is happening between the two countries? To a larger extent, Africa, let's come down to Ghana. What's happening?
Well, there's a long, long history between France and Africa. Not so long between France and Ghana. Ghana has attracted, since the 16th century, maybe the 15th century, visitors from Portugal and then from many countries in the current Europe. And France obviously never really visited or settled in Ghana like we did in other countries in West Africa, for the better or for worse, but that's how it is. But relations with Ghana, we always had relations, but friendly, but not as I don't know how to qualify them, but not as tense as the ones we have with Côte d'Ivoire or Burkina or the French.
Normally, any of the French-speaking countries.
Yes, French-speaking countries. But we were always there. We were always friendly with Ghana. And when Ghana became independent, we were among the first countries to recognize Ghana as a sovereign country and to settle with an embassy in 1957. Yes. The good thing about looking through the archives is very funny, because I found the letter of the last consul who was here in Ghana, just to be a contact for the French community, writing to the first person who was appointed as an ambassador and describing Ghana. Say, well, the climate is very nice and the people are very friendly. I think you will like Ghana. Welcome. It was very, very interesting to find that. It was written in 1957.
Yeah.
So
60 years and we still can't.
Yes, and still people are welcome, and still Ghanaians are welcoming, and still the climate is nice and enjoyable. So nothing has changed in this respect, luckily. But I must say we were quite maybe shy, or maybe focused on the rest of West Africa, or maybe because we were not alone. Many countries were also operating here, but France was probably not very visible in Ghana. And since 2016, when our Prime Minister came, then 2017, when the President Macron came officially, he was the very first French president to ever come to Ghana since independence. And then, since then, President Akufo-Addo was invited to France, and then we have ministers coming, and then
high-level
visits, and we have inaugurated the new embassy on the first day of president's in office, and we had also the Minister of Foreign Affairs coming. So certainly Ghana is getting higher in the French agenda, because we realize that you are a pillar in West Africa, an important, stable, democratic country in West Africa. It's been like this since 1992, really. It's a peaceful country, which is very, very important, because if you want to invest in a country, you don't want to always look around you and get ready to run away in emergency, because suddenly a crisis or a war would suddenly explode. So it's incredibly precious, that this stability. And slowly France has realized that we need in West Africa one country that we can rely on, that can be a pillar.
Is that Ghana?
And that is Ghana.
Awesome. France realized, or has come to realize, that they need one country in West Africa that they can rely on, and that is Ghana. You see what happens when you engage in your fellow media practitioner. She's already fast moving ahead of me. Now, before we go to that's good. Now, before we go to the rest of the conversations or issues that will be discussed on this platform, I have a video of the visit of His Excellency Emmanuel Macron, the French president, when he visited Ghana, and of course the stunning speech that was made by His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo on relations between Ghana and France, what we want, and how we feel we need your assistance technically to be able to position ourselves from, and charts the path of Ghana beyond aid. So I have that video. If it's ready, can we take a look at that video and we will come back to the studio.
Our responsibility is to charter a path which is about how we can develop our nations ourselves. It is not right for a country like Ghana, 60 years after independence, to still have its health and education budgets being financed on the basis of the generosity and charity of European taxpayers. By now, we should be able to finance our basic needs ourselves. Our perspective has not to be what the French taxpayer decides to do with whatever surpluses that they have in France. They're welcome. But this continent, with all that has happened, is still today the repository of at least 30% of the most important minerals of the world. It is a continent of vast, arable and fertile lands. It has the youngest population of any of the continents in the world. So it has the energy and the dynamism. We've seen it. These young men who are showing so much resilience and ingenuity in crossing the Sahara, finding ways to go across with rickety boats across the Mediterranean to really, those energies, we want to have those energies working inside our countries.
Right, so you're still watching Diplomatic Affairs. That was the conversation that ensued between the President of Ghana, His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, and the French President, His Excellency Emmanuel Macron, when he visited Ghana. That was his first visit to Ghana, and yes, this video actually went viral. And of course, watching with Her Excellency, she told me that, you know, she actually had to take time to watch the video, do her research, and, you know, she, in a way, she sides with all the expressions made by the president as in building our country, being self-reliant and also self-sufficient, creating jobs for the youngsters on the African continent. For him, it goes beyond Ghana. Absolutely. It's all about Africa. And we will talk about the African Continental Free Trade Area that is keenly, you know, taking place, or that is operational right now on the African continent. What do you think first? I have two questions. First, your take on this video, and then we will come to the free trade area.
Well, as I said, when I watched it, certainly what was amazing, when I was appointed to Ghana, I had to do my research, as you said, and I watched that video and I listened to what your president said. And of course, I had been through a few documents and I knew that Ghana had been peaceful, stable and everything. And when I listened to this video, I said, oh my God, I want to be part of it. This country is going to thrive, is going to show the way. He's going to show that they can live beyond development aid. They want to partner differently, and they are exactly this is exactly the kind of partnership that the President Macron described later on in Ouagadougou, saying this is a different way to partner with Africa. They have strength, they have assets. We need to work on these because we are not the ones who know, and we're teaching. It's completely different. Africa is 60% of the people are under 30 years old, so they will be ruling the world tomorrow. We are an old continent. We have 1/3 of our people are above 60 or 65. So the future is young Africans. So that's, we're betting, we're investing, we're not aiding in a way. We are partnering because we think that there is a train that is moving and we need to step on board.
Interesting. What do you think are the free trade area on the African continent? Talking of partnering differently, Now we have found our strength. We want to rely on our strengths as a continent. We also want to do what the EU has been able to do successfully. I can say successfully because to everything there are challenges, and of course there are the success stories that comes with it at the end of the day. So we also want to churn our own path. What is your take on the free trade area?
It's going to take time to settle down because it looks easy, open the borders to African products and make this market a huge market to enable any company in any of the African countries to certainly have a larger market for their products or services. So when you say it like this, it seems to be very easy. Truth is, it's a bit complicated because some products you really want to protect. You want to protect part of your industry. Each country has specificities that they want to keep. And how do you do with the currency? How do you do, and how do you do with the infrastructures? It's if you say we want to trade more among ourselves, but if you don't have the proper infrastructures,
How do you do that?
How do you do that? So there's
the need for partnership.
The need, there's a need, there's an appetite, there's obviously a necessity because that is the key to for the success of Africa. But there's a path to get there, and that is where we're ready to help, and we want to partner with these countries. You mentioned EU. Yes, there have been some great success in this coming together that the EU is. We've also met some challenges. And because Africa is looking at getting together to be stronger together, let's put it this way, and we don't need to have technical terms. It's about coming together and being stronger together. We have some track records in Europe, but we also had some challenges. And before you start now, it's good that you can have a critical look at what we did and say, okay, what they did there was interesting. We might apply it maybe our way. Differently.
So are there any lessons to be drawn from the EU? Or could I be wrong if I put it that way? Like you said, the narratives are not the same.
Yeah, it's not the ground is not the same. So just like I sometimes give this analogy. I don't know if it's a good one, but you know, it's like food. In Ghana, you had influences, Portuguese, British, German influences in food, but you made it your own. Eventually, your stew is your stew. It's not a British stew. The base probably was British, but the way you spiced it up and made it your own is typical Ghanaian stew. So I think that's what you collectively are going to do. Get some inspiration, look at things that might be of interest, but then do it your own way.
Could you say that it is good that we have at least someone to look up to? It helps when you are starting the journey.
Not look up to, look at.
Look at. And to guide you.
And you know, criticize and you know, look at it. Like sometimes you look at a painting or something and then you say, I want to do something alike, but not exactly the same. It's not looking up to, because I don't like the idea that you would be behind and catching up. It's not at all the same. There's a right time for a right thing. Don't forget that in Europe, our democracies are like 200 years old. Democracies in Africa, they're not even all of them are at the Ghanaian stage. So the history is different, the people is different, the mindset is different, the environment is different. So you have the same, you're driven by the same conviction that getting together is the way to do it, and that it will make you stronger. So we have the same goal and the same mean, but then the way you're going to do it is your way, with your own appetite, with your own mindset. And you probably will do things differently than we do, and we might learn from you.
Right. So you did mention that your relationship with Ghana is a bit different from your relationship with, let's say, Mali, Chad. And so let's talk about the G5. Sahel group.
Yes.
And tell us what it is for, because from my research, I learned that it is to foster developments in that region. And also for the purposes of insecurities, terrorism, and all of that. How is that going so far? Because there have been some backlashes at the whole entire initiative. How is that going so far?
So the whole idea is that you don't fight terrorism just with military intervention, because if you do not create an environment where people will have jobs, will have food, will be able to have a happy life, then the ground will still be favorable for terrorism. So development and military interventions have to come together. But then it cannot only rely on the French. When Mali was in trouble because terrorist groups were marching onto Bamako, they called France to rescue. We came, but we came to support the Malian army, not to do instead. We came because we were asked to. And we tried to bring more people with us, because 5,000 soldiers altogether to cover an area that is as long as 6,000 kilometers, it's basically impossible. So we need some people to come and support. And the idea of the G5 is to have the neighboring countries, the 5 countries, to take their own destiny into their own hands.
That is Mali, Chad, Mauritania, Niger, and Burkina Faso.
You learned a lesson. You're very impressive. Very impressive. Yeah, the idea is to train their armies, so their own security and military forces are able to take their destiny into hands. Because the moment the French will leave, if they cannot fight what's left of terrorism, it's going to be disastrous.
Right.
So we really need to help them in training. That's how we do.
So the agreements came into being in 2017. Is that right?
Yes.
What will be your assessment so far?
It's difficult. It's, asking, creating an army and training an army, it takes a long time. And doing it the French way, when we have had an army for 1,000 years, and for the last 200 years we have trained them in specific mindset, and we have a whole human resource organization, so the way to hire them, how to deal with their career, and the whole social package that they're getting. If they get injured or if they get killed, there's a whole social package. And this has taken a long time to put in place. And then suddenly we're trying to train those African armies. Some of them are well trained. Some of them have a sense of protecting their state. But for some of them, it comes as something difficult, defending borders that they are not natural borders, that come right through an ethnie, or defending precisely a border where an ethnie lives that has nothing to do with my ethnie. We were, in the beginning, they were trained for peacekeeping, not to die in defending a country that is not their original region.
A country of their origin.
See what I mean?
Right.
So it takes a long time to give them the sense that we have. Okay, when France says we're defending the motherland, we know what it means. So it takes a long time, and the idea of a country as unity is something that you have here in Ghana. The country is unity, and this is thanks to many measures that have been taken, so that the ethnies are mixing, people are moving around, learning other people's languages. Eventually, you have a united country. It's not always the case. It is not the case in many other countries where ethnies are still very strong and they recognize themselves among ethnies or regions, and certainly not consider their neighbor, although it's supposed to be the same nationality. They don't look upon him as actually the same nationality. Why would I fight to defend him? For centuries, his tribe was enemy to mine.
Right.
You see what I mean?
Yeah.
So
there is that animosity in
yes,
a way.
that doesn't explain it all, you see, but it explains why we cannot apply the same methods of training an army in these countries as we have in France. So it will take time. But terrorism is, unfortunately, sometimes I try to give an example of these terrorist groups, how to picture it. Can you picture the rain on a windshield? You see the drops, they get together, then spread, then join another one, then split, then get a bigger one, and then split again. This is how the terrorist groups work. So the moment you hit one, the ones who survive, they just split everywhere. So we have to work on the roots of that. And poverty, feeling of being left apart, feeling that the state is abandoning us, is probably a fertile ground for radical Islam that comes and very nicely they come and say, look, we are building schools, we are building community centers, we are doing this and this and that, but then they are converting them to the worst branch of radical Islam that has nothing to do with real Islam, that has nothing to do with Quran, but it's about hatred of whoever is not like you, and this hatred can flourish on the ground that is poor, especially now with the social networks, internet, you can show, look, all those people, they're richer than you, so you are forgotten, now it's time to fight for your rights. And that's how it starts working. So we have to address the roots. You were saying, yes, there is development, there is, so the French Development Agency is working, because once you have cut the terrorist branches, you have to work on the roots and clean the ground and make sure that the ground is fit to grow a flourishing economy and a happy family life and prosperity.
Right, so you are still watching Diplomatic Affairs with me, Harriet Nati, on Pan-African Television, and the French ambassador is our guest. It's all about relations between Ghana and France, and so we will take a break. When we come back, we continue with our discussion.